Hey, it's me again, Alex. Welcome back to my video series from online event storming to amazing software. Today we want to do a big picture event storming, and for this I've invited my colleague Sandro and the team from Insecia to join me. Together we want to have a look at the functionality of prooph and the integration of the video avatars that is provided by Insecia. That's the topic for today, but before the other guys will join me, let me quickly show you the board that I've prepared here. A big picture event storming does not need so much preparation, but a few things can be helpful. So I've prepared 3 different sections on this board here. The first one is the coffee machine section. That's our meeting point for the video avatars. So here we meet at the beginning of the session and then also during the breaks. So that's also a good place to write down the agenda for today. As you can see, we have planned 4 different slots, each 50 minutes. And then always a small break in between. And at the end, we want to do a short retro, which is always a good idea after a workshop to collect some feedback and improve for the next time. The next section is about questions and answers. That's especially useful when you have people in the event storming that are new to the concept. So the facilitator can prepare the most common questions upfront. For example, how do we start with a big picture event storming? Where can people find more information about the colors and the concepts? That's what I did here already. And then during the session, if people have more questions, they can write them down here. And during the breaks, they can be answered, or even within the session when there's enough time. And with this, you create a reference for everybody and improve the learning experience, I would say. The third section is for the retro that we have planned at the end of the session. It's a simple retro format with 3 columns, start, stop, and continue. So the start column is for things, for ideas that we should start doing next time. Stop is the opposite. We should stop doing it because it didn't work well in this session. And continue is for all the things that worked great and that we should continue to do. Let's wait for the other guys to join us, and then I would say we are ready to start with a big picture event storming. Okay, we are complete. We have different expertise in the room. We have a product owner, we have a domain expert, front-end and back-end developers, and also UX. That's a good thing because you want to have a mixed group in event storming so that the different point of views contribute to the discussion and to the ideas, and you can get the most out of the session. So we skip the detailed introduction of everybody and directly start with our first discovery, also called the chaotic mode. So guys, are you ready? Okay, looks good. Then let's go. Okay, that were the first 15 minutes of our big picture event storming. I would like to use the break to explain you some steps that we did, but not going too much into details because then the video gets too long. So I would say if you are interested in all the details and you would like to have access to the board to have a look around, then join our prooph board group on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to give you access and also answer questions, okay? We started with the most important question, how do we make money, and quickly sketched the first domain events about the subscription model. The goal of a big picture event storming is to create shared understanding between all attendees of the session. We focus on high-level domain events, represented by this orange sticky notes here. And again, if you don't know what a domain event is, you can always click on this question mark here and have a look in the wiki where everything is explained. So a domain event is something that has happened It's a fact that is relevant for the business. We try to give it meaningful names and use past tense to do this. And this has some advantages because then we can ask questions like, what needs to happen so that this event becomes true? What should happen after this event? And so on. So with this, you can discover the entire business flows, the information flow that is happening in the product and in the company. And it triggers a lot of discussions to create a shared understanding. Then you saw that the group split into two smaller groups to work in parallel on different topics. So one group was focusing on the video avatar functionality in that area here, while the other group was focusing on the proof board part, how organizations are created, how members of the organization are invited, what an admin can do, stuff like that. At the beginning, I said that the first discovery phase of a big picture event storming is also called chaotic mode. This basically means that you just write down every domain event that comes to mind without looking too much at the time frame or that the events are in order. Just brainstorm as you go. In the next phase, our goal is to now bring everything in order, check if our naming is correct of the events, if we have missed some or if we have duplicate events. And with this, we trigger some more discussions about the information flow. Let's have a look what we did in phase 2. Time for the next break. Everybody gets a fresh cup of coffee, and I'm using the time to explain you what we did in the last 15 minutes. So as I said before, we ordered the domain events from left to right and created a little story with this. So you can go through the story starting with a user sign up, then creating an organization, starting a subscription, inviting other members to the organization, and so on. While we did that, we also discussed some things where we can maybe improve the situation, like here that we have a hotspot here now. You can use hotspots for different situations. One is this one here where someone has a good idea that should be covered for later. The other thing is that you often run into some detailed discussions when doing event stormings. At some point, it doesn't make sense to discuss it in this level of detail within this session. And then it's also good to stop it, write down the topic of the discussion on a hotspot, and also note that you want to do an extra session later. And at the end of the event storming, you can go through the hotspots and see what are the action items for the next time. Another thing that you can see here is that we've put some events in parallel to our mainstream of the story. So this is useful when you want to represent logic that can happen in parallel. So for example, here an administrator can manage the organization while a member of the organization can create a board or add a user to a team. But everything can only happen after the organization was created and the subscription was made. In the last 2 slots of today, we want to focus on the user needs. And during our discussions, we identified 2 interesting areas where we want to dive deeper into the topic that is relevant for both teams that are part of this event storming today. So the first topic is the subscription model. How can we integrate the video avatar functionality into the subscription model? And the other topic is covered by this hotspot here. So we already discussed a little bit how the user information is shared between prooph and Insecia and the video service. So this will be part of our 2 detailed sessions now. And we have a look again what happens, and then I explain you what we did. That were 2 intense rounds of discussion. At the beginning, you saw that Christoph shared his screen, so we could all take a look at the pricing model of prooph, and then from this we started some detailed discussions about how can the video avatars be integrated into the subscription model of prooph. I've skipped this part a little bit because, well, yeah, we had more discussions than action on the board. That also happens, right? But we covered everything with a couple of hotspots here for later. And then, yeah, we switched to another hotspot and had a look how information of users can be passed from prooph to the video service provided by Insecia. I was in the driver's seat and I suggested to use some examples. So I put my name on a roll sticky and started to think through the way how I would create the video session and what happens in the system when I do this. So I'm coming from the prooph and I'm on a specific board, and this board has an ID, and on the video server there needs to be a room opened where the people can join. So we said, and that's already happening, that the board ID from prooph is passed to the video server, and with this ID the video room is created. And then we started to think about the permissions so that we can block users joining the room that are not allowed to be on the board on the prooph side. So that was the discussion, and you saw what we did. We used some more colors here. For example, the UI API sticky represented by this gray color, and also the green stickies that represent information, but it's still on a high level. It's not super detailed. We have a lot of hotspots here. At the end of the session, go through the hotspots, make some action items, plan the next steps, and also think about the people who should join specific sessions, for example, when GDPR is discussed, or when the authentication system and the permission model is discussed in details. Last point of the agenda today is our retro, and I present the results to you now and put the time lapse at the end of the video as a nice outro. So everybody was asked to pick a color and then fill the 3 columns of the retro with their thoughts. In the start column, you see the suggestion that the groups should be mixed, and that's a good one. It's natural that people focus on their area of expertise, but then the knowledge sharing doesn't happen. So the facilitator can force the groups to be mixed. We didn't do it today. also because of the short time frame that we had with this 15-minute slots, and that was related to the video recording. So next time I would plan the slots a little bit longer, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Next thing is, in the stop column, don't talk about something that is not visualized. That's always a good idea for collaboration. In the continue column, we see that the video avatars are mentioned a lot, and I can only second that. This type of collaboration that we did today, this event storming, is a whole new experience with this video avatar. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the session and that you join me next time when we talk about Kodi again. I start the time lapse of the retro now and say goodbye. See you next time.